the FBI is a piece of... The FBI sucks. Listen, I don't even care if I get fucking... The FBI coming after me for this, but check it out. The FBI is the most useless fucking agency in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Worst. I want to get something out the way because it's going to come up later anyway. I remember I mentioned the subreddit Ice Poseidon 2. Not the first one, 2. And I said something like it was created by like leftover Ice fans, but I was wrong. But that was a mistake, and I'm not even sure why I said it because I knew better a while ago. Ice Poseidon 2 is a subreddit dedicated to hating Ice and exposing him for the fraud that he is. So everything you see over there is going to be negative towards Ice. So Ice Poseidon 2 equals good. Ice Poseidon equals bad. Now on to this video, which is going to be, I'm going to tell you now, is going to be a rant / reaction more so than an actual video. I just woke up. There's not really a lot clever to say, so let's just get the intro out of the way.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Good morning.
Hell of the day.
You hold this L for that bum ass.
Stupid. The king is back.
King fame. Okay.
Can you copyright him right now?
Alright, so Ice. I usually talk directly to the person, but here's the thing. Ice Poseidon got raided yesterday for 5 straight hours by the FBI, which is not a good thing if you aren't aware. That is bad for anybody involved. So what they did was they took all of Ice Poseidon's electronics away from him. Not some, not part of them, all of them. Computers. They even took his phone. Somebody said they took a vape. I don't know what you could search inside of a vape, but they didn't want him to have it apparently, so that's gone too. Now, considering that he has no electronics, I imagine it'd be kind of hard for Ice to even see this kind of video or any video about him in this situation to begin with. And this was confirmed by Ice as he hopped on his Discord on someone else's phone, Kimberly, and he used her account because he can't get into his account because his phone is taken. And he just went on a rant about why he got raided and what's going on, what went wrong. Now, Ice went on to blame Ice Poseidon 2, which is why I mentioned him earlier. He blames Ice Poseidon 2's subreddit for the reason that he got raided, because he says that subreddit is trying to ruin his life by exposing the things he's done and said. Not because he's a bad person. That's not why FBI, not because he's doing illegal activities. No, it's because Ice Poseidon 2 hates him and wants to ruin his life, so they've been faking calls and making up shit, and the FBI just happened to believe it. They just wasted their energy and resources off some fake ass phone calls with no evidence is what they want you to believe. Don't believe what Keemstar is telling you about Ice. Please, God, I've said it already, but don't believe it. It just doesn't even make sense half the time. And I get it, you love Keem, but this is one of the few people you probably should not listen to Keemstar about because of the biased love he has for Ice. And he's clearly a big supporter of him, so why would you listen to that? Use your common sense, people. It doesn't make sense. It didn't add up when he was talking about McDonald's. It doesn't add up now. The FBI is not showing up for fake phone calls and taking all your electronics. That's way too easy. If that was the case, the FBI would have everybody's electronics. They'd be an Apple store at this point. Don't believe anything you hear from that, especially not from Ice, and especially not from Keemstar, because if you've forgotten, Keemstar is the one who raced and dove out there and convinced all of you idiots that what Ice described wasn't a Ponzi scheme. And here we are today with Ice getting raided by FBI. I'm not saying it was solely because of the Ponzi scheme thing, but I would like to think that was a part of his investigation with the FBI. By now, I thought you all realized that Keemstar was a white knight for Ice Poseidon. It's very obvious. He wanted to be his manager at one point, so it confused me. When I put out that last video about Ice, when there were tons of you hopping in the comments trying to defend him by saying, well, Keemstar cleared this up. He broke it down and explained it on Twitter. Take the video down. You don't know what you're talking about. Why the fuck are you listening to Keemstar about Ice Poseidon? They're friends. It's super biased information coming from him. He described the Ponzi scheme by telling you what a McDonald's franchise was. And you believed it. You ran with it and you took it. You accepted that as fact and didn't realize that it made no sense for you to describe a McDonald's franchise when trying to defuse a situation about a Ponzi scheme that Ice exactly defined. Regardless, that was clearly not true. And now he's taking the word that Ice is only getting raided by the FBI for 5 hours because of some spoofed calls from some hating ass people. I don't know if you all realize who the FBI are. They don't really waste their time with lack of evidence. They don't just take goofy calls and say, oh, this must be true, and just dive in. They usually plan well ahead of time and do their own research before they make any move like this. This is not good news. This 5-hour raid means they knew something that we didn't know. And they didn't take electronics off of assumptions. They took all of his devices because they knew something was up, and they would like to dig deeper into what they have found. If you're wondering, where was Mexican Andy during all this, because I'm sure a lot of you are concerned about Mexican Andy, He left the night before the raid conveniently, so he didn't get anything confiscated, anything like that. So he's safe. A lot of other people who were there generally seem to be safe. Maybe they had a couple of things taken, but no one got locked up. No one's in jail. No one got taken away or deported, anything like that as far as we know. The only thing they took were electronic, and if they find what they're looking for, they'll be back to take a lot of people to jail. But there's not a lot to really say about this whole thing. Everything is pretty much speculation and assumptions. Nobody honestly knows anything. So if you see like a 10-minute plus, 20-minute plus video about this, ignore it. Somebody's just trying to get their ads up. Don't click that shit. Click smaller videos about this because it's a smaller topic. As far as Ice, this is the third video where I will be giving him an L of the day. Surprisingly, it's only the third, and it will put him as like the most L's out of anybody I've ever talked about. Even though people like to pretend that I obsess and do repetitive, nope. I haven't done more than 2 or 3 videos about anyone except maybe Alinity. I think she had like 3 or 4 at that time. But everybody else, 1 video, maybe 2, and then I carry on my fucking day. Because it doesn't take a lot for me to get my point across. Just like it didn't take a lot for me to get my point across. Last video, even though you delusional fucks didn't want to believe me. I imagine that's what's going to happen with this video as well. Either you delusional Ice fans are going to show up, use the word context, or some other dumbass keyword that you heard someone else say because you can't form your own opinions using logic and reasoning. Or you're not going to show up at all because you know you're fucking wrong. So that being said, I'm not going to waste my time with this one. L of the day goes to Ice Poseidon. If you agree with this L, be sure to leave a like on the video. Let me know how you feel about all this down in the comments below. And of course, if you are new, subscribe to join me and the famous few on our path to greatness. Until next time, this has been the famous King, Miles King, and I have nothing left to say. With all that being said, this has been your L of the day.
The FBI is the most useless fucking agency in the world. They don't do shit, okay? The FBI will not help you do shit. Literally, they don't give a fuck. Bunch of lazy fucks. Fuck the FBI.
Our first kiss in the living room. That's a hella way to end the night. A hella way to end the night. We did drugs in the bedroom.